Hey guys, Atsu here, and in this video I'll be giving you my very first opinions and impressions of our new 5-star Pyro Claymore character, Dehya. Now Dehya will be featuring on the standard banner after her banner ends from this patch, and you will be able to get her should you lose your 50-50. Now unanimously speaking from the people on the media server, I do think everyone thinks that she's not anything stellar and she's not a crazy powerful 5-star character that many people were hoping for. In this video though, I will try and give you guys what I honestly think about where she can be useful, how she is useful in that sense, although it might sound like extreme copium, as well as some few recommendations on where you might actually be able to use her, because honestly speaking, I think most people are saying, and I would maybe agree to this somewhat to a certain degree, don't quote me incorrectly when I say this, but she is possibly contending for the worst 5-star character, or the weakest or least useful 5-star character in the game right now, alongside someone like Chi-Chi, although some people might argue that Chi-Chi is super useful. Everyone can find a use for any character, so if you are someone that likes to pull for any characters for whatever reason, whether it's for collectors purposes, whether it's for building them to be a certain way and playing for fun, then I encourage you to still pull for Dehya. Now if you are waiting to use your Primo Gems efficiently for a strong character that is going to elevate you to the next level and help you get the 36 stars in Spiral Abyss, unless you are a Giga Whale or a Whale that has already good hyper carry characters, I do not recommend this character to be pulled at all, because they are not going to help you progress in content like the Spiral Abyss. Outside of that though, I think she's perfectly usable and perfectly fine with that regard. So let us begin with her abilities. So normal attack is going to be just normal attacks, nothing special there, with the same charge attack as Diluc as well. So her normal attacks look like this. She's going to punch the enemy where it hurts the most at the end of her string, and then her charge attacks, ooh, look at me, I'm so good at dodging, guys. But the charge attacks are going to look something like this. So same as Diluc, if you've ever used Diluc's charge attack, not many people do. And then her elemental skill and her elemental burst. So elemental skill is going to be the most useful part of her ability, I would assume, for most players. So let's begin there. Indomitable Flame. This skill will be unleashed should there be no Fiery Sanctum field created by Dehya herself present at the time. Deals AoE pyro damage and creates a field known as Fiery Sanctum. The elemental skill, so this is going to be Fiery Sanctum. So as you can see, there's a field around us. However, she still has an elemental skill reusage available. And what is this? This is going to be part 2 of her elemental skill called Ranging Flame. This skill will be unleashed should a Fiery Sanctum field created by Dehya herself already exist. Dehya will perform a leaping attack dealing AoE pyro damage before recreating a Fiery Sanctum field at her new position. A Fiery Sanctum field created this way will inherit the remaining duration of the previous field. Ranging Flame can be used only once throughout a single Fiery Sanctum field's duration. So what is that going to do? So as you can see, we have a field over here. We can still use our elemental skill, and there we can reposition the elemental skill and the field once again. However, it doesn't end there. Fiery Sanctum. When an opponent within a Fiery Sanctum field takes damage, the field will unleash a coordinated attack dealing AoE, so area of effect, is going to hit multiple enemies, pyro damage to them based on Dehya's attack and maximum HP. This effect can be triggered once every 2.5 seconds. Active characters within this field have their resistance to interruption increased, and when such characters take damage, a portion of that damage will be mitigated and flow into Redmane's blood. Dehya will then take this damage over 10 seconds. When the mitigated damage stored by Redmane's blood reaches or goes over a certain percentage of Dehya's maximum HP, she will stop mitigating damage this way. Only one Fiery Sanctum created by Dehya herself can exist at the same time. So Sacrificial Greatsword is not going to allow you to spam a ton of different fields on the game. So if you're standing in here, watch this. As you can see, we see the mitigation of the damage here, and you can see now Redmane's blood in effect. So Redmane's blood is, once again, it's going to take some of the damage that you take while you're in that field and channel it into Dehya, who then takes damage over time instead. So she doesn't get one shot immediately. It's kind of like the corrosion effect that you see from the wolves, where you start taking the damage slowly and slowly and slowly. But once again, let me put this down again. Boom, boom. And this time, as you can see, we didn't actually get knocked back by that massive heavy attack. We saw 4,984 damage as well, so the damage was mitigated to a degree. Now, why did she not get knocked back the second time when she got knocked back the first time? So, unstinting Sakura. Within 6 seconds after Dehya retrieves the Fiery Sanctum Field through Molten Inferno, Raging Flame, or Leonine Bite, she will take 60% less damage when receiving damage from Redmane's blood. So the ticking damage that Dehya takes, whether she's taking it on behalf of an ally or she's taking it on behalf of herself, it's going to be reduced by 60%. This effect can be triggered once every 2 seconds. Additionally, within 9 seconds after Dehya unleashes Molten Inferno Indomitable Flame, which is going to be part 1, the very first part of her elemental skill, she will provide all party members, including herself, the Gold Forge form state. This state will further increase a character's resistance to interruption when they are within the Fiery Sanctum Field. Gold Forge form can be activated once every 18 seconds. So only once every 18 seconds. Stalwart and True, when her hit points is less than 40%, Dehya will recover 20% of her max HP and restore 6% of her max HP every 2 seconds for next 10 seconds. This effect can be triggered once every 10 seconds. So if I take enough damage here, I'm going to start healing. So as you can see, I'm starting to heal every few seconds, and Dehya will consistently do that so she has a pool of HP to share with your other allies on the game. So let me put this down here, boom. And then she doesn't get knocked back because it's the very first iteration and it's within those 9 seconds of her using her elemental skill. But as you can see, the second part is not available right now. So let's wait for that to come back up again. We'll put the elemental skill down once. Boom, just once. And as you can see, she doesn't get knocked back as long as she's standing in the field. And then you can redeploy this field again somewhere else. But remember that if you redeploy the second time, you can still get knocked back because the ability, the Golden Armor state, which is going to give you stagger resistance, is only available within every 18 seconds. So we're going to put that down again. And again, you can see she's not dying and she's not getting knocked back by attacks that are considered heavy attacks that would normally knock you away. But after that duration is done, after those 9 seconds are done, she's going to go flying here, which she does. And then that is something you should keep in mind. Her elemental burst is called Leonine Bite, where she's basically going to change into her fists and she's going to start hitting the enemy, which is going to scale off her attack and maximum HP as well. And then on top of that, if a Fiery Sanctum Field created by Dehya's own elemental skill Molten Inferno exists, when this ability is unleashed, Dehya will retrieve it and then create another field once Blazing Lioness's duration expires. That's her elemental burst form. This field will take on the retrieved field's duration at the moment of its retrieval. In this state, Dehya will be unable to perform or cast her elemental skill, and instead it will be replaced by the Punching, aka Roaring Barrage. Roaring Barrage speeds up every time you hit the enemy with Roaring Barrage. So let's go ahead and show you guys what that looks like and exactly how that's meant to work. If you want her to have her stagger resistance, you basically put down her elemental skill and then you burst. So let us get the enemy to start attacking so that I can show you guys. We'll put down the field. She's going to draw that field, and as you can see, she didn't get knocked back and she's just slapping away at the enemy. Boom, and then you can see the field. She just redeploys that field as well. But as you can see, it's really not a lot of damage that we've done there. In fact, it's a really pitiful amount of damage that we've done here. But once again, if I hit the enemy within this field, they're going to take damage. Pyro damage, 5,797 that you can see there. Again, it's not a crazy amount of damage. So if you're looking to make her into a DPS, well, you know, it's probably not going to work how you'd like it to work. If you're looking to use her as a defensive character, well, she probably needs another defensive character to help her with regards to something like healing, because you're still taking damage. If you're taking a lot of damage, it would be ideal to heal that damage. So she doesn't really function as a solo DPS, and she doesn't really function as a solo defensive character. However, we live in a universe where we have multiple other defensive characters like Cookie Shinobu, like Sing Cho, like young Benete, who is going to be a really, really good partner to Dehya. And you might be saying, well, that's not Dehya doing anything, that's all Xingqiu. And you wouldn't be incorrect in that statement. However, what I want to make very clear is that we also live in a world where Spiral Abyss requires 2 teams. And a lot of the time, people don't want to put, and I'm projecting here, I'm talking about myself, people don't want to put Zhongli and Bennett on the same team because Bennett is such a good character to have to heal your other team and provide offensive utility. And Zhongli, if your shield is strong enough, you really don't need a healer with Zhongli. However, some people still do pair Zhongli up with a healer as well, and that's kind of similar in the sense that Dehya can be paired up with another defensive character, can be a shield character, can be a healer. That is up to you and your personal preference. So for me, Dehya is a character that can be used as a comfort character. And what do I mean by a comfort character? I don't mean like, oh, ooh, she's my favorite character, she's my bestie. Not that kind of comfort character. I mean like Zhongli, in that she will help you play the game more comfortably because it means your damage dealing characters aren't going to be knocked back and sent flying all the time, which is something that is a personal pet peeve of mine, which is why I love Zhongli. If you're not good at dodging, then Dehya is going to be there to help you out. And if you pair up with Bennett, you get double pyro resonance, which is going to be actually very, very nice and very, very useful. So let me show you guys what an example of her actually being somewhat useful is going to look like. So here we go. This is the team I'm going to go with. We're going to go with Farzan and the Wanderer along with Dehya and young Benete. And then on this side, we are, in fact, which are the sides with the samurai? All right, we'll go, ooh, both of these. Okay, so both of these are great examples because Chamber 2 on this new Abyss, this is one I think everyone agrees, whether you're a whale, whether you're an F2P player, was actually a very difficult Abyss, especially both of these floors where you take a ridiculous, and I mean a ridiculous amount of damage and you get sent flying and the enemies knock you around like there's no tomorrow. It's actually really, really nice to have these characters. So in fact, let me switch it to this. I think the Magu Kenki floor is the most obnoxious one that people found very, very difficult because dodging on there simply won't be enough because you have a layer of ice on the ground that does a lot of ticking damage to you if you're just standing there and you don't have a shield on. So it is quite difficult. So let me put it on the more harder floor here. So let's start with the shield character or defensive character for me goes in the first slot. Main DPS goes in the second slot. Hyper carry goes there. And then Bennett or offensive support goes in the third slot. And then we have the other offensive support in the fourth slot. In the first team, we're just going to unga bunga through. Right, here we go. This is going to be floor 12, chamber 1. I can't remember what the enemies are. I think they're actually really spread out. So this one might be a little bit annoying. So we'll put this down. We'll put this down. We'll put this down. And then we'll put this down. So like this, if I stay in here, I shouldn't be able to get knocked back or staggered, although it doesn't really seem like the enemies can even hit me here. So that in itself is interesting. And then we'll do this. I did get knocked back there because the field had ended by that time. We'll put this down again. We'll put this down again. We'll put this down again. And then we'll do this. Okay. I'm not really able to show off what they're good at here, so maybe we might have to find a different floor here in a moment. All right, let's make sure we have our ults up as well. Yeah, I want to make sure I have my ults up. So as you can see, I just took a lot of damage there. I'm still taking a lot of damage here, and that's because I didn't use Dehya, so I'm getting punished for not using Dehya here. Okay, so we are done there on that floor. And in fact, our HP is low enough that I'm confident that I'm going to be able to show you guys where she's going to be useful here. So let's go with character elemental skill. I know there was a healing option there, which might have been better. But what I want to show you guys is the combination of Dehya and Bennett here. So boom, boom, and then boom. Put this down, put this down. Put this down, boom. My Al-Haytham is still Constellation 0, by the way, when I'm showing you this, which is why he doesn't do like a crazy amount of damage right now. But this is a floor where actually Dehya is super, super useful because these enemies hit so hard. And I feel like that is actually an understatement. These enemies hit so, so hard and they absolutely shred your shields. So you are going to need a healer and you are going to need consistent shielding as well here on this floor. So we'll put this down here. Big ult. Yeah, big ult. Okay, hit both enemies. Use the elemental skill. Yeah, my shield is broken already. Just like that, my shield is broken. I'm gonna start getting staggered, which is super annoying. Boom, 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 and then boom. I think he's dodged it. Nope. Okay, so my Alhaitham is already down to half hit points. If I had Dehya and Bennett there, though, I'd be able to heal. I wouldn't have to worry too much about this. So, the enemies here. Let me first of all show you guys what this looks like. When they put down, I mean, just like that, you die instantly. I would like to show the field that they put down on the ground first, though, the cryo field. Are they going to put it down? Okay, so this field, as you can see, is doing ticking damage to me right now, which is not particularly pleasant because this field is massive, and how are you going to hit the enemies without having a shield? What do we want to do on the second floor here? We don't want to instantly die, but you just saw how much damage the enemies do, right? You already know if you've done this floor, the samurai, the Magu Kenki, they do a crud ton of damage. So how exactly are we going to avoid that? Well, one of the ways to avoid that is by using Dehya and then doing this with Bennett. So now you have stagger resistance and you are able to do damage like this. However, the Magu Kenki there didn't actually attack, but as you can see, I didn't get one shot, even though I just got hit by a bunch of different slashes there, which is really, really, really nice. So let us get our elemental burst for young Bennett back, okay? And we can go straight back in there. Right, we're gonna go straight back in there. We're gonna do this. And we are taking a bunch of slash damage, but as you can see, we have the damage mitigation and we're not going to get knocked back, which I personally am a big fan of. So let's get out of here after we use our burst. All right, I'm out of here. And as you can see, there was a little bit of follow-up damage there as well. We're going to do this once again. Boom. I get knocked back. Boom. And I don't get staggered here as well, but I want to heal up with Dehya as well. So let's start healing her up. And as you can see, we are taking a lot of damage here, but the field is back on. I need my elemental burst back with Bennett. Without Bennett, we are a little bit of a pickle. All right, we put this down, and we put this down as well, and then we put this down, and we can start healing everybody back up again. So I'm going to switch to Bennett here. Let's heal up with Bennett. Let's heal up with Dehya as well. So in terms of defensive utility, I have to say that it is, I personally think, along with Bennett, is quite a useful character. I know the time looks bad right now, but I'm just trying to wait for my elemental burst to come back as well. Boom, boom, and then boom. Okay, so that's an easy 3 stars as well. And no characters got one shot there. You just saw there, those Magu Kenki, they all slapped me at the same time with one of the squishiest characters in the Wanderer, and I didn't get one shot. So for me personally, I'm a big fan of that. And all of those hitting me and not knocking me back as well is really huge, especially with characters like the Wanderer or Shao or Raiden, where being knocked back means you lose like what, 1-2 seconds of damage, or even Senno. It's really huge to not get knocked back and just be able to constantly unleash your abilities, which I am a very big fan of. So I'll see you guys in the second half of this floor as well. All right, second half, here we go. We are here now in the second half. This floor again is quite difficult. I think this one might be a bit challenging because the enemies are going to be really spread out on this floor. So without further ado, here we go. Let's put this down. Let's put this down. Let's put this down. Let's put the Dehya elemental skill down as well, so we get the stagger resistance and we can start wailing away on damage without worrying about getting knocked back, although we are the ones knocking back the enemies right now. And I guess the Wanderer here kind of makes it a bit difficult, especially with a C6 Farazan that allows me to knock the enemies around like this. I guess maybe not the greatest showcase, but what I wanted to emphasize again, guys, as I mentioned earlier, is the main thing is if you have a hyper carry character, and this is the Copian, is if you are a whale with a hyper carry character, Dehya is actually really nice to help you with regards to eliminating enemies that have a lot of CC, a lot of crowd control. So in that sense, she's really nice. So let us do our just desserts and let Dehya take some of the credit here and some of the action here. Boom. Yes, Dehya, let's go, Dehya. And she missed her final hit there because yeah, she did just miss her final hit because the enemy was knocked up in the air. But that's okay, right? That's okay, guys, that's okay. Come on, Dehya, you've got this. You've got this, and bear in mind, guys, the Dehya you're watching right now, she is actually a DPS build. So her damage is not good. Her damage is really not great. I'll show you the build that I have on her right now. I'll show you her stats right now. Her damage is not great. So the other thing you could take from that footage is if you put a supportive build on her, her supportive capability will actually be a lot better, especially this one. Tenacity of the Millilith. This set is unironically actually going to be a useful support set on Dehya because her elemental skill will trigger every 2.5 seconds to hit the enemy as well, which is going to be nice. It gives HP as well, which Dehya scales partially off of. So if you do want a supportive set on Dehya, Tenacity of the Millilith is the way to go. If you want Dehya to do like a little bit of damage, it's not going to be crazy damage, then the artifact set I recommend is Emblem of Severed Fate, so her elemental burst can do some damage, and then she also has energy recharge to use her elemental burst. But outside of that, you either want to go either all in on the elemental skill, which will be Tenacity of the Millilith. If you want damage, then you can go for stuff like Lava Walker, which is really copium. No one farms that set. You have the Crimson Witch of Flames, which a lot of people only farm now from the strong box, but if you have Crimson Witch of Flames, you can use her with like an overloaded composition with like Fischl, Bennett, Raiden. Yeah, it's not great. And then she can work in some teams for like a Burgeon. Burning isn't a very good reaction, but it's there. So yeah, that is what I personally think of Dehya. Her passive, this one here, increases the movement speed of your own party members by 10% during the day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. is pretty good. You run 10% faster, which is nice. And then her constellations do make her a little bit more viable, but I think her damage is still not great even at C6. But we will find that out in a separate video. So these are the things I recommend you to build her with. You can even put the bell on her if you wish. The new weapon is not a weapon that I highly recommend. Maybe she can be built with elemental mastery. I am not someone who has the willpower to go ahead and try that out. I don't think she's going to be a super reaction build character, even though her elemental skill can trigger reactions. I think it's going to be a little bit copium, and ultimately if you want her for damage mitigation, you want to build her with a lot of HP. And the way her HP works, or rather the way her damage mitigation works, is 200% maximum HP is how much damage mitigation she can do. So that means she can help you mitigate 60,000 damage, which is a lot. It is a lot. And these are the stats, by the way. This review and first impressions is very messy, but these are stats: 72% crit rate, 190 crit damage, 160 energy recharge, 46.6% pyro damage bonus, and 2,000 attack, 31,000 HP. She has really good stats, really good artifacts that I've given her, and the damage that you saw just now is what she's capable of doing. And she even has her own weapon at refinement rank 1 level 90. So again, her damage is not really there, but her damage mitigation at level 9, if you don't want to crown her, it is 48% mitigation, which is a lot. And Redmane's blood maximum means she will keep taking damage until she's taken 61,000 HP worth of damage mitigation, which is honestly kind of insane. I think there is a possibility, guys, in the future where we're gonna have enemies. We already have it right now with the floor 12, floor 2, floor 3, where the enemies do a crazy amount of damage. 50% mitigation, or 48 here if you're not crowning her, is no joke. And the fact she can take up to 61,000 damage of mitigation is pretty good. But at the moment, is that super useful for 99% of the player base? No. Because you're still gonna need a good healer to make sure that damage isn't gonna kill everyone and that's not gonna instantly destroy Dehya, because Dehya, while she can heal herself, that heal is a ticking heal. So when you switch to her and she's healing, or when she starts healing and you need to switch to her because everyone else is dying, you're still gonna need a healer. You're still gonna need a shielder and another defensive unit. But when it comes to future impact, and if in the future we ever need a character, if we ever need a character that requires you to have 2 defensive units, or ever have content that requires you to have 2 defensive units, otherwise it's extremely difficult, that is where Dehya can shine. And that is what I personally believe is going to be her usefulness. At the moment, though, we don't really have that other than this very specific chamber where the Red Vulture and Scorpion or the Magu Kenkis can all do a ridiculous amount of damage. We don't really have that right now. But let us see actually how much damage those floors specifically do. And then we can decide, is the damage mitigation really that good? So we'll put a defensive unit here first. We'll put Yelan here. Let's go with Sing Cho for energy recharge. And then we can put Bennett here and Sing Cho there. Okay, so we are on the Magu Kenki floor. Let us see how much damage the Magu Kenki are capable of doing to my Yelan here. So we're going to put this shield down here. And then Yelan instantly, just like that, loses almost all her HP there. She goes down to like 20,000, which is not ideal. As you could see, she almost gets one shot there. And she has 30,000 plus HP there, which is not ideal. So let us try that again, get our energy back, and see, once we heal up, how good the damage mitigation is going to be. Okay, this should be okay. Put this down. And we'll put this down, let her heal up for a bit. So as you can see, we are taking a lot of damage. This is a lot of damage that we're taking here. So we have 28,000 HP regenerated. Now, as you guys know, the plan is, of course, with Dehya, we're gonna mitigate that damage and see how much we can tank while using Bennett as well. Oh my god, I'm dodge impact king right now. I don't look like a Zhongli player now, right? Okay, I spoke too soon. Okay, we'll put this down. Boom. Put this down, and then we're gonna stand here with Yelan. She's not getting knocked back, as you can see. Look at that, peanut damage! Literally peanut damage! That damage mitigation is so nice. Unironically, it is so nice. And without the damage mitigation, that's when it's gonna start hurting. So, do we have the burst again? We have this again. Yep. Here we go. Look at that! We're taking so many hits! She's living! See, normally, any other character would literally just be obliterated. They would genuinely be obliterated instantly in that instance. But because Dehya, and as you can see, she is actually healing up there as well. Because of Dehya's passive, there is a use. So we'll put this down again. Boom. 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 And then with Yelan, we're just going to heal on here. Yeah. Look at that. Not too shabby. Honestly, not too shabby. And you can see Dehya's healing here as well. And then boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so this damage is not great. You know, this damage is not great, but yeah, that's you know, that's just, you know, that's just that. But yeah. As you can see, the vaporizer isn't ideal either because it's vaporizing after and it's vaporizing the hydro, so the damage isn't that good. But that is my thoughts on Dehya. I think right now she is contending for possibly the least useful or worst 5-star character in the game. But I think there is a universe where some people would be able to make use of her defensive abilities. She, in terms of pyro reactions, is usable in some Burgeon teams. I am not going to pretend that I am a player that plays with Burgeon. I think that in a national team, maybe she has some usage of, obviously Bennett's a national team. In a mono pyro team, she's also kind of usable, but again, that's Bennett. She essentially really likes to have Bennett, and if you have Bennett in the team, then it's not bad. If you have Overload and you want to make her do the damage with an overloaded team with Fisher as support and Bennett as support, you're putting a lot of investment into a character that doesn't do a lot of damage, but it can somewhat be feasible. But yes, that is how I feel about Dehya. I'm sure there are other teams out there where she's usable. I wouldn't necessarily say useful, but usable. And as harsh as that might seem, because it does feel bad, I am a person that really wanted her to be super good. A reason being, I love characters that fight with their fists like Hazo, and I was really hoping that Beidou would be the character that fights with her fists, because Dehya is also very similar to Beidou. They're both Claymore characters. I feel like the personalities are similar. Their designs are kind of similar. similar. They're both badass characters. I hope that Beta will fight with her fist one day, because canonically speaking, she took down the sea beast with her fist. Dehya's fighting style is honestly one I am a very, 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 very big fan of, and I'm a little bit sad that she's not really, really strong. But I think, and I'm being optimistic, there is potential for her to be very useful in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and good luck with your wishes if you're wishing for Dehya. Bye-bye.